go with the Battle on Bago boys. Welcome to the Bigwater podcast.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Ross.
I don't think that I've ever regretted a podcast before I even got started, but I think I might already.
This one might be it.
Why don't you guys introduce yourselves so everybody, because you're all clumped together, so we need to make sure we get everybody out there that's watching the video knows who's who.
I'm Glenn Curran, president of Battle on Bago. Started working with we started Battle on Bago back in 2007, so that's pretty much it on my end.
Middle Jim Erdman, board of directors. I do setup and takedown.
Curt Stam, board of directors. I'm not going to believe this, but I'm in charge of the bars.
I saw some of that God's water you guys had hidden down at the table there like professionals. Good gracious. So let's just dig into this right now. You guys are characters, but you're also guys that are good buddies and love to fish, right? And so you started something that, I almost equate this to people that don't know, because I live in Ohio, and before I got to know you guys, I had heard of Battle on Bago, right? Like, if you're in the fishing industry or you do what I do, like, you may not know you guys, you may not have participated, but you know what it is or you hear about it. And so hopefully you guys can give us maybe a little better light of what's going on and some of the shenanigans and seeing how this thing has developed, because it's almost like its own city now in this ice fishing tournament. So give us a little bit of how this came about. You guys are fishing buddies. I don't want to talk. You tell me how this got going, and we'll talk about where it's at.
Well, thanks, Ross. And we're all active in the community and other organizations, nonprofits, and I think what you find out is there's a lot of golf outings and wine tastings and cheese pairing, whatever they are. That doesn't fit our bill, really. So we kind of looked at our large lake called Lake Winnebago that we have here, and so we could do a fundraiser by fishing, raise money.
Ooh, on Lake Winnebago.
Yeah, right. Well, it's a good lake for some sheep better good to catch. But
yeah.
Anyways, we figured we could run a fundraiser similar to one Brainerd did, but just a different format. And the first year we had 300 people show up. It was a success in our books and raised $10,000, and then it just kind of got bigger and bigger. We arranged the prizes where you're getting a truck in 2,000th place now, and a boat in 600th place, and so it's really attracted people from all over the country. And now we have 10 to 12,000 anglers over a 3-day period, and raised close to $500,000 a year.
So let's back up on this. So we all know, I do this podcast, and sometimes I have to remotely be professional, right? And then there's guys that are way too serious that are on here. I know that's not tonight, but
right.
Not at all. But there may or may not be some cheating in walleye fishing. I mean, that's a whole podcast within itself. So you guys went right around that and said, hey, like Joe Smith that, is an auto mechanic that just wants to go have fun and maybe help, do some benefit stuff or just get on the ice or whatever. He's not concerned about fishing against a full-time professional, because 90th place may be $50,000 or I don't know, or whatever, or a truck is 900th place or something. Is that right? So explain that a little more, how that really actually works.
Yeah, we had typical format is first place wins. And so, for competitive anglers, we travel all over, and you're always worried about the local boys. I mean, they know the system, they know the water, they know the secret spots and all that good stuff. So Battle on Bago, we experienced that for the first couple of years. So Glenn eliminated that. So I think first place is a cooler now. We've still got those 10 or 12 guys that are from Oshkosh that are going to win that cooler. They're hunting for that cooler. They just want the first place award. But for those traveling in from states and provinces away, kind of evens the scores up.
So, like, what is the top prize by most people's standards?
So weight-wise, they might bring in an 8-pound walleye. But top prize is a F-150.
Okay, so that's what I'm like.
What is the 2,000th place?
But you could literally have a 7-inch bluegill in one F-150 truck.
Yeah, someone white bass won it one year, won the truck. A perch won a truck a couple years ago. So
nice.
Yeah, and the reason why we first place went to a cooler, it used to be a couple grand. Is like I don't know the guy's name, but I think his name was Stam. He brought in this is a sketchy looking dude, kind of like you. Ross.
We certainly saw a Great Lakes walleye.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
I know. I know. I'm on Lake Erie, like right there, and you guys are in Wisconsin.
Sure,
But
it's an Erie walleye.
Hey, Curt, could you get Glenn a mirror because I mean, so he understands what sketchy is. You guys sell those in your neighborhood or what?
No, we break mirrors.
So yeah, he came in with a 10-pound walleye, which we just like. There's not a chance on earth that a 10-pound walleye with caved-in eyeballs came in from Lake Winnebago within the last 24 hours. So
yeah. We've had both of the two big derbies here, the Walleye Slam and the Fall Brawl. We've had the owner-operators on the podcast. You know, we talk about all the shenanigans, all the stuff that's going on, and they're obviously doing pretty extensive lie detector tests and things. That's not really your deal because if 2000th place is the F-150, you almost couldn't, even if you tried, you really can't predict what's going to happen because even if somebody weighs in the same size fish, based on what's happening, it really goes by time also, right?
It's time stamped, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if there's a 5-way tie for 2000th place, it's the first away. So yeah, there's three or four decimal places on a pound.
4 decimal places.
Yeah, 4 decimal places and a timestamp. So it's
tough.
I don't know what the probability is, but it's very minute that you could cheat.
How many fish can a person weigh?
As many tickets as they buy.
1 per ticket.
As long as they're inside their legal limit.
Yeah.
So what is a ticket? Like, explain me some of the fundamentals of this that we kind of glazed over.
So we raised our ticket prices. So our ticket's $40. Buy a ticket, you weigh a fish. You hit on that fish, you win a truck. So 1 ticket per fish, buy as many tickets as you want. White bass, no worries. We've got, bag limits on walleyes and game fish. So
and slot limits.
We have to watch them out. Yeah, we do a slot on walleyes. We're avoiding those spawners in the spring. So yeah, 1 fish per ticket and bring in as many as you want.
Yeah, I could see too where somebody probably get all butt hurt, and I understand because I'm kind of conservation minded. Where there's just the pressure that's being brought on that. Like you guys almost probably wish that people are catching white bass and not walleyes.
And we've historically have had 300-400 walleyes brought in a good year. We put that slot, self-imposed slot in. No walleyes in their 14 and no walleyes 18 to 22 can be brought into the tournament. Despite regulations, you can keep them per DNR rules. But that's helped out. But we've had overall and panfish have to be over 8 inches. So, I mean, we had years where you have 6-inch walleyes coming in and 5-inch bluegills, and they're smashing the parking lot. It doesn't look good. So we've changed all that over the years.
Yeah, you don't now with social media and things, that's not the stuff that you want to see. Seeing like I saw the videos of the tent about blowing away, and you guys trying to nail it down or whatever you want to call it. But seeing a bunch of dead fish in the parking lot, that's really bad to go around.
Yeah, that's what even surprises us. I mean, we didn't predict that people were going to bring in 6-inch walleyes, but they did. So we imposed some slot limits. And what did we weigh last year for overs on walleyes? Like 30?
Only 30 fish over 22 inches came in on a 200,000 acre lake system that we
10,000 fish was 30 overs on walleyes.
So Ross, I want to stop the podcast for a second.
Whoa!
I know.
Okay.
We'll get back to the guest in a minute. I saw you. I was looking at stuff. I was researching. I was researching for.
Oh my God! You're doing your job. Oh my God!
I'm doing my job, and I was on something called Powder Puff, which I don't know why you're on Powder Puff, but I saw your face on something called Powder Puff or something like
Powder
that.
Hook, man. Powderhook.com.
Okay, well, what is that?
Well, as you kind of found out, we're cheating on a little bit. Normally, the fellow listeners there at Bigwater know that you have to tease me with ice cream to give a fishing report because I quite frankly hate them. But we are doing an extensive fishing report, amongst other things, with powderhook.com. And they've got a bunch of things across Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff too. But we're doing a detailed fishing report. They're talking about really detailed stuff with what's going on specifically on Lake Erie here in the western and central basins, and even a few times there in the eastern basin in the summer, now through May of 2023. So we're going to be doing lots of stuff, and you already seen some of it because you caught me red-handed, but we've got a perch, information on there. We're talking about planer boards. We've got all kinds of different information, but with myself and then some other Lake Erie studs that basically are teaching how to catch more walleyes, what's going on currently, And I mean, powderhook.com. It's a one-stop shop right now for Lake Erie info, whether it's a fishing report, videos, or some, written articles, how to, select a charter captain like myself, different things to think about and talk about. So a lot of unique things there, as you already know.
So powderhook.com. That's where we go.
So I know you rattle off, Glenn, a little bit there in the first year or whatever, but do you remember how the growth has been or ballpark, to get to where you're at now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it took us about 8 years to get to where we're at now. I think in 2011, we had Clay Matthews, the Green Bay Packers. He showed up right after they won the Super Bowl, and that kind of launched us a little bit on the map throughout the Midwest. And
did Curt have a drinking competition with Clay?
He tackled him a couple times.
Well, he could.
That guy did not drink at all. He just drank water. His body's a temple, not like ours.
Well, mine's a temple. It's just a different style. I mean, hey.
It's more like a pyramid?
No, they built big pyramids.
We had some growing pains, though, along the way with, you imagine weighing in like 10,000 fish. Or, we average probably 8,000 to 9,000 fish a year, mostly white bass and panfish. But we've had lines a half mile long that's taken us 3 hours to weigh in, which obviously you can imagine the complaining that came after that. But
so with that many people, do you only have one scale?
No. What do we have?
18.
We have 24 scales. We typically run 18.
Okay, I was going to say, I was like, yeah. So that
We used to
moves
have
pretty
lines,
quick.
and we have no lines anymore. I think at one point our scale master was weighing 1,800 fish an hour was the rate, and there was no line with 18 scales open.
Jesus.
It's a pretty good operation, and our guys at Fox Valley Metrology, he's on our board. He's like a wizard in terms of technology, and he created an app or a program to weigh a fish, and he's also creating our app, our CRR app, CPR app, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be a battle app that allows tournament anglers to catch, photo, release, similar to Fish Donkey that you've seen. So we're coming out with that next year.
I mean, what really is the motivation? Because a lot of guys, when you get to a certain point, I don't think with you guys, this was like, hey, let's see how much money we can make, right? I mean, this is, you guys got good jobs. You don't have enough time to do this stuff, right? So when you get to a certain point, because I remember hearing a story about when, the tent came, you had a tent issue, and then like the last year with the weather, like just something as simple as the tent and having that facility big enough and where you store it. Like, I don't think people understand, like, it's almost like putting on a concert. Really, it's even bigger.
We have a concert.
We have a concert
Pretty
every
much
Friday
on
night.
sensor, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Jim, and take that question on the facilities.
Yeah, I mean, we're building contractors, general contractors, so logistically it makes sense. And it's an interesting question: is what is our motivation? I think you can ask every one of our board members individually the same question. I don't know. We have rental companies. We don't sell houses in good markets, and I don't know. We like doing what we do, and we like the guys that we work with, and we only know how to make it bigger, so we keep going.
I mean, compared to other people that are running a big fish derby or tournament circuit, where you have a lot more crying and whining, probably. Not that you guys, I'm sure, don't see some of that, but you've eliminated a lot of that. Like, you made some smart decisions in my mind early on, where you got participation encouraged and then whining not encouraged. Like, it'd be pretty hard. Like, what are some of the shit shows that you've seen with people whining or crying? Or, I mean, there's got to be still some. There's just
we had a bad ice here a couple of years ago. Against my worst judgment, Glenn canceled the event. We were a go. It turned 75 degrees and the ice went out in like a day and a half. So it would have been really bad. So Glenn made the right call. He trumped us, so we canceled. And we gave all of our anglers the option to get a refund, to donate their funds from their fishing ticket, or to roll it over until next year. Collaboratively, we didn't come together and do proper estimating, so we sell tickets next year. And we've got this event that we, to this day, don't know how big it was, if it was 17,000 or 15,000 anglers.
A lot.
So we did have a line on day 2 for the scales. So the derby was over at 2 p.m. We cut the line off, so there's like 4 of us at the end of the line. And we look out on the lake, and here comes this guy that's like 6'7" with a cutoff sweatshirt on, marching across the bay, and he's 20 minutes late. He's got a perch in his hand. We're like, oh no. So yeah, those are the kind of scenarios that we've experienced that are.
So how did that work out?
We
He's still here.
called in some troops and did some negotiating. So yeah, we certainly experienced that stuff. Same in our summer walleye tournament, typical complaining, but we always say we built events for anglers by anglers, and eliminate all the stuff that's not fun, you know.
Yeah, we've only had one arrest in 15 years there. You know, you put all these people drinking in the tent. There's only been one arrest, and he was not even a part of the tournament. I think. He was
just
some random drunk guy that the cops had to tase him a couple times. That was it.
I would have lost the under/over on that one. Like seriously.
We don't really have it's kind of a no nonsense thing. I mean, it's a lot of common sense. So we have guys that stay at the end of the line, and you watch guys try to butt in line. You know, we'll kick them out at the end. They'll walk down 100 yards, try to butt in line, go down another 100. So you follow those guys, you know, and once they get to the tent, then you kick them out. But
we've got great relationships with local PD and stuff. I mean, we have the fire chief, the police chief. They're in the tent during the event. I mean, they're good buddies of ours, so it's pretty no nonsense.
That is surprising because, I mean, how many beers do you think you guys sell during one of these deals?
So we sell beer for about a total of 12 hours, and we sell about 25,000 cans of beer in 12 hours.
I couldn't see where anything would go wrong from there.
Right. So think about the logistics and moving beer for 25,000 cans of beer in that short amount of time. It gets kind of. That's why they put me in charge of it.
So Kurt puts his bar in the middle of the tent too. So you got to get through the crowd with all the beer to get.
I mean, it's a 40,000 square foot tent, so it's somewhat big.
I don't know if the people at home can understand what characters you guys are. I mean, allegedly, Your Honor.
Allegedly.
I don't want to get your legal team on me yet, but you got it. When you get like Wisconsin beer, fishing, Eagle, even with the process that you guys have, you have to have some just insane stories that whether it's during, before, or after on this thing. And this is what the people really want to hear. They want to hear. They just
our biggest. I think the biggest when we really hit the news is when we sunk 36 vehicles in Lake Winnebago, which apparently was a world record. It was in the London Times, the Australian news. My uncle was in Jamaica and he saw it on the news, so that kind of kicked it off.
36 vehicles.
Yeah, and they were all parked right next to each other, like we told them not to do. And then somebody got out of a vehicle and they drilled a hole right in the middle of the ice where they were all parked, and it shot up like a fire hydrant. And about a half hour later, there's a bunch of trucks sitting at the bottom of the lake. So,
because Winnebago is, for people that don't know, is kind of like a big bathtub or something. But I mean, how deep of water were they in?
Like 10, 12 feet, maybe.
Yeah, they weren't in super deep water, but I mean, they slid together and rubbed oars for a while as they sunk and dragging along each other. Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, if you're any deeper than 3 feet, it doesn't really matter. It's got the same result. It just might cost a little more to get drug out of it.
Are always that way.
Yeah.
And we found guys, talking about shenanigans. Was it 2 years ago? We had they're turning the heat on in the morning at the tent, and the guy passed out in the porta potty the night before, so he come flying out of the porta potty. So he slept there all night in the porta potty.
Yeah. He was frozen turd.
Yeah. So, passed out on hay bales. I mean, it's every interesting character in the Midwest is there, so it's good people.
Yeah, we have people that they set up camp. They bring campers a week before, and there's camp set up on the lake. You see some really interesting things.
I'm still mind blown of all the things, like 36 vehicles in the water and everything. That's great. I'm still mind blown you've only had one arrest in 15 years. Like I mean, maybe they're just letting some things fly, but there had to be some other near.
Yeah, really, we have a pretty big board. I mean, some big guys that run around that tent. So I don't know. I mean, it is a knock on wood, but I think everybody's there for the same reason, to have a good time. We have kind of a different crowd on Friday that comes for the band, and then the fishermen come on Saturday, and we kind of flip the crowd a little bit. Yeah. They've been there 15 years now. I think they know what to expect, and there's a lot of cops around, so I think that are going to misbehave. They're going to find somewhere else to do that.
Well, I think one of the biggest things is it's a beer only event. I mean, you start throwing firewater at these guys, and you're gonna turn this into a real big show.
It'll be a
real
cage
fast.
match.
But,
I mean,
but
then
just
we'd have to
because,
sure.
yeah, but just because you guys aren't selling fire water or whatever you want to call it, that
sure,
doesn't
some
mean
of them, yeah.
Oh, there's some coming in for sure, but we wrap up early. I think if you ask the community, we send them out Saturday night by 7:30, and then they go out to the town. I mean, they fill the whole town up that weekend. So I would think if you ask the community, there's some pretty rowdy ice fishermen around Oshkosh come 10, 11 p.m. on Saturday night.
So basically, you've just made it somebody else's problem. That's why you guys. Speaking of somebody else's problem, I mean, at ICAST, somebody ended up with a shopping cart in their room.
Yeah, that was me. I had
And a flower.
And flowers.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
could
that
you,
kinda goes back.
which one of your fishing boyfriends gave you flowers and exactly how that went down?
He's not here, but back in a few years ago, there's
that's the perfect guy. The guy that's not here to tell him, right?
Right. So that's not the first time I had flowers in my bed on a fishing trip or whatever. We had up in Door County, we were on a salmon fishing trip, and Chris Anderson, who's not here, he picked a whole giant pot of geraniums. They're on the corner of streets up in in cities to make them pretty. He picked the whole pot, roots and all, and he threw them in my bed.
I was there.
Yeah,
I was with him.
Yeah, Jim was with him. So I woke up with a bunch of flowers and dirt and roots on me. So
that's so nice that you guys care each other care about each other like that.
We returned them.
We returned the carts and the flower. So
that's nice. Has there been any serious problems though when you're doing this? There has to be things that come up that you're just like, oh my god.
Well, last year the winter event, we do a kickoff night on Thursday night off site for sponsors and such, and Friday night we go all day and there's a band in the evening. So Friday night we had, what do they call it, a snow squall?
Snow squall.
I never heard that predicted by the Weather Channel. So they predicted a snow squall, and we experienced 70 plus mile an hour straight line winds with a 40,000 square foot tent with, I don't know how many people were in it, 10,000.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
So we struggled with that, and we ended up kicking them out after the first song?
Second song. We gave them 2 songs.
And
but there's 25 ice rescues that night. People are freaking out on the lake and couldn't get off the lake and driving into cracks, and not good.
Well, it's funny because when you say that, I've witnessed a little of this through some of your sponsors, mutual friends that were there at the event. And I was ice guiding on Erie, and we basically had to come off because we had like 50 mile an hour winds. Yeah. And it's tough for anything to function. When you get shacks and things, I mean, they just become sails, and it's just everything is tough and cracks and stuff opening up, and it just becomes kind of a bad deal. But didn't the tent almost come down, or did you keep it from happening? Did you?
We that's why we kicked them out. We got to the point where we were holding our own, keeping the tent up, but the wind was winning, and the crowd got big, and the crowd started to drink, and we couldn't navigate the crowd, so we kicked them out. And we were able to save the tent so we could do the awards on Saturday. So it worked out well. But yeah, we had 50-foot sidewalls exploding on the tent, just would explode and shatter into pieces in the cold weather and the wind. And the sponsors' products would blow across the tent 100 feet, and it wasn't good.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah.
In 15 years, is it getting more fun for you guys, or is it more difficult now?
It's getting easier.
Yeah, I think it's more fun. I mean, Glenn's done a good job over the years of putting the right people in the right positions. So I think setup and takedown was a nightmare years ago.
Yeah,
it was giant, and local contractors that were charging a bunch of money, and so we've eliminated all of that stuff. So it's gotten fun.
Yeah, we got sponsors too have been good. I mean, we've attracted more sponsors, and the bigger you get, it's like we did a lot of door knocking the first 5-6 years, and people like, who are you and what are you doing, and go kick rocks. So
what am I wrong when I say that you guys are big enough, or this event is big enough that you don't have to describe it to as many people, or is this a deal where you are kind of selective and you're just not taking any, you want to kind of pick your friends, if you will?
I don't think we really describe it anymore. I mean, even competitive angling, when we travel, maybe we're out west in the Dakotas or something, and there's tournament circuit leaders asking us personally, like calling a meeting for dinner and saying, I don't know what you guys are doing in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, but the size of the open water walleye tournament, the winter event that you run, we looked into it. It's run by the same guys, and we don't understand what's going on in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, how you guys have that sort of leadership, yet it still appears like you guys are having fun.
We are.
Well, I think that's what attracts a lot of people is we do have fun. I mean, we run these events for the anglers. We don't run them. I mean, for ourselves, we get the satisfaction, but We do this for the anglers, and that's probably what keeps us going on it.
I mean, you guys, I remember reading when I was doing a little research on this thing, because again, I don't know about the whole thing, and you guys have donated more than a couple $1 million. You know, where exactly are you donating that stuff, and explain kind of how this works for the people that are participating.
So we go back to earlier in the show, we created a mission statement for kids in conservation. So we wanted to kind of control them, where the money goes to things that we find important, which is youth, getting kids out of the house, getting them outdoors, getting them involved in sports and conservation efforts on the system as well. So I think over 144 organizations we've donated to over 15 years. And obviously the first 5 to 6 years we were raising 10 to 15,000. It's not as impactful. Now we're on to a point where we can bring in 300 to 400 or more a year and then donate that. So that's got our end goal, I think, is to get a foundation where we can have 2 or 3 million in the foundation and just continue to work.
I'm not here to point fingers, but we just had a comment come in that the reason you guys started this was because Curt and Glenn couldn't catch fish, and so they were going to start a tournament. Those that can't. I don't know who. This was obviously, we're not sophisticated here, and it was a random anonymous thing, and I didn't look into it.
I'd love to see what that was.
They did not mention Jim, however.
So it's Jeremy.
Right, Jeremy.
I'm not sure. But Glenn, you got to give me a story about something that's gone on here with these two knuckleheads, because even like I said, I don't think this thing, the little bit that I've been around and seen, this thing doesn't work unless you guys are buddies, because a lot of guys would not be buddies after year 5 or something, right?
You should tell the story about when you guys lost the bet and had to tell me what a good fisherman was on stage.
Ooh, see, now you're talking my cheese now. Yeah,
we had a little.
You guys need a little more bush light in you. This is the tamest. I feel like you are. Do you feel like you're being interrogated?
We should do a podcast tonight at 10 o'clock.
No. Mama didn't raise no fool. But I mean,
right.
I feel like especially Glenn. Like, I don't feel you guys are getting an amazing representation. And Curt, you've been on amazing behavior. Like,
you told me I had to be.
I did not. It wouldn't matter what I say. It's not going to happen. I mean, Jim is he's the only even keel guy here, but right. I mean, there's the Shenanigans. Are you guys feeling like you're being interrogated because this is recorded and you're going to have witnesses? You know, is that
a little bit?
Oh, they know better.
Yeah, they know us well enough. So no, we have competition between our group that, you know, we had another walleye tournament, Merck Nationals, Jim and his partner, and against Curt and I, and
the MWC.
And the MWC.
If we want to talk deer hunting, I beat Jim every year. But
we're not.
I know.
Since this is a fishing podcast, let's just stick with you getting your ass kicked.
I may or may have not have booted a 4-pound walleye in the last 10 minutes of the tournament to lose not only to Jim, but lose a nice check at the tournament too. So, but Curt horsed it.
No, I might have.
What?
A shitty nut job?
It was a terrible nut job. It bounced off the motor.
It was a bad reel in job. He horsed it in. It was
fine. It's right at the back of the boat.
Wait a minute. He bounced it off the motor?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Stabbed it first.
So Curt thought it was a sheephead, so he reeled it in like NASCAR fast. And then by the time we got to the boat, it wasn't even near tired yet.
Oh, it was not a sheephead.
I stuck the net in the water and I hooked the crankbait on the outside of the net, and the fish was outside of the net, which is not good if you're in a tournament. So,
like, I don't think you have to fish. Like, I think if some guy's wife's listening to this that just does yoga or something, she probably knows that now.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't good.
No.
I asked Curt if I could break his rod in half. After that,
producer dude, can we get a graphic of Glenn holding a fish? Like, are we sophisticated enough and the fish is outside with the lure and it's not in, or should we just send him one of our net videos or something?
So that was a year we had a 4-day competition, 2 2-day tournaments, and on day 1 these guys smoked us and they came in like 3 hours early. So, and then everyone online, we had this competition and they were choosing sides and stuff. What they didn't know is we powwowed that night and these guys put us on their fish the next morning. So then we smoked them in the tournament.
Yeah.
And then the next week in the Masters Circuit tournament locally. Yeah, on your spot, on your fish.
So we call them the tailpipers.
Yeah.
It's a fishing term.
Yeah, we can see them right behind us.
We actually were reeling our 3rd fish in and we could see them still driving away on plane. Yeah. And we were on your marks. I don't understand. You blew your marks by 2 miles.
Maybe you guys should work for the MWC and get them. I mean, if they were serving 24,000 beers at the MWC and like 80th place was a truck, maybe this things would be different.
Probably.
I think we drank 24,000 beers in the MWC.
Yeah, we did.
Over the years.
Pretty good at that. Not netting fish.
So who was it that was it your uncle or grandpa or somebody that was in a cabin? I remember. See, I know people. I know.
Timmy.
And he went and he like this is. I don't want to like steal your thunder here, but I remember hearing bits and pieces through some mutual friends that like he's got insomnia or something, just sleeps like 2 hours a day, and went in somebody else's cabin and cooked them breakfast. Like,
well, yeah, my dad thinks he doesn't sleep at all. He just sits on the end of his bed and looks at his watch, and at 5 a.m. he walks out.
Yeah, so he runs circles around his bed all night.
Well, yeah, he found somebody that would talk to him at Lake Winnebago at Tamarack Lodge, and he ended up working his way in the kitchen and cooked them breakfast one morning. Just random strangers. So he did hit a tree at 60 miles an hour with a motorcycle back when he was 18. So a couple wires loose.
Is this also the same guy who there was a side of the road and they came back later story?
Yeah, that's the one right after the tree. They had him in a body bag, and then they came back for him, and he had it unzipped, and he was sitting up straight. He was alive again.
Same guy.
Wait a minute. Back up and give that to me a little slower, because I think people, even though I remember hearing this, I'm still like, huh? So
they thought he was dead. The driver they took to the hospital. They put him in a bag, come back to get him, and he had unzipped the bag and sat up straight on the sidewalk, asking where everybody was.
Why don't I have this guy in the podcast? He's like a cat. How many? He actually a cat only. The difference between him and a cat is a cat only has 9 lives.
Yeah, you should. We'll line that up next time. You'll enjoy him.
Oh my gosh! Maybe that's where some of the distant bloodline shenanigans come from.
I think so. Right?
Yeah,
Jim, you're the only even keel guy.
Yeah, I'm the stable one in the crowd.
Yeah, Jim's
keep these guys righted.
Yeah,
make sure they get home. You know, they come with rule books. They're gonna read the rules every month. The rules change too.
We don't follow rule books very good though.
So Curt, I mean, I'm back to this bouncing the thing off the motor. Like,
we should talk about that.
It was an experience.
Yeah.
I just went and sat down, stayed quiet, and Glenn wanted to break my rods, and
I asked if I would. I paid.
He's like, "I'll pay for your rods right now if I can break them." I'm like, "It's a fish. It's fine. We'll probably catch another one, even though there's like 5 minutes of fishing left." Of course, we weren't gonna. So I talked him off the ledge, and went in and ended up losing the gym
by a pound.
And that was the start of the end for us. Damn it! Then we had to go on stage at our event and tell them that Jim and Jeremy were better fishermen than we were.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
So it's kind of embarrassing. But we did get to call them tail pipers on stage, which we kind of fit the bill.
I've never seen the back of Jim's boat, just the front of it.
Right. I don't even know what kind of motor he's got.
Wow.
We're going to continue. Curt and I both qualified for the national shootout
for
the AIM next year, so we're going to probably fish against each other there.
So some of the other, I feel like we need to hear some of these other stories that have gone on during the whether it's you guys or some of the other stuff, because people just love hearing about other people's nightmares.
There was a guy that had what do you call it? Fake leg.
Peg leg?
No,
prosthetic.
And a guy ripped it off his leg.
Oh,
and he dumped a beer in it and drank a beer out of his prosthetic leg.
That did happen.
Yep. That happened. So
I can only imagine how bad that smelled.
If you guys would have had a video of that on TikTok, you probably could
have get that. I have it on video. I'll get it to you.
You really do?
Yes. Of course we do.
I absolutely want that video. That is insane.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I mean, I know you guys aren't there like the police for this thing, but when you have like 500 fishermen or 50 fishermen, even in some of the stuff like I do, you just have all these shenanigans that go on. I can't imagine with 10,000+ people. Yeah, I mean,
and I think it goes on the lake. There's a lot of shenanigans in the lake. I know I've heard stories of people, running for tip ups naked, and there's bonfires out there. You should see what the lake looks like. I mean, these guys give her hard for 3-4 days out there, and we just see the hungover guys on Saturday when they get to the tent.
Motorcycle races, ice drill rides. I mean, it never ends out there.
Guys breaking.
Have you gotten any negative feedback because of that for people that are locals and fish? Be like, hey, you just destroyed the freaking lake, basically, and
just the garbage. Some of it, some people. We try to encourage people to obviously pick up their garbage, but if you find a 5-gallon bucket out in the middle of the lake after our event, don't go get it. It's got a present on it.
Yeah. It was left for a reason.
Yeah.
So, do you have any tips if some of these guys are going to come up and fish that this year? Do you have any tips for people that are literally like there? Because we all know there's half the people are there just to have a good time, maybe do some drinking, just have some camaraderie. But then there's a bunch of people that are trying to get certain prizes. Like, I mean, who wouldn't want to get an F-150 or a boat or whatever some of these cash prizes are? Any tips for people that you've seen that maybe would improve your odds, or is this just so straight luck?
No, I don't. I think you got to have a Vexlar, Markham, or a.
Yeah, it's a vertical jig bite. I mean, you're gonna be using a locator and running and gunning, looking for schools of fish.
Clown jigging wraps number 3 and 5. I mean, just
and I think what you're getting at is there's guys that'll hold their fish on Friday to see where the weights are coming in on Friday. So if it's a hot white bass bite and it's 1.13 to 1.25 pounds, that's probably going to put you in about the 2,000th place. So there's guys that'll hold their fish until Saturday to make sure that their weights are inside of all those weights somewhere.
Because it doesn't go by species or us. It's by
just weight.
Just weight of walleyes, white bass, perch, crappies, and bluegills. Just where they fall. So if I had 5 tickets for Battle on Bago and I had 5 8-pound walleyes laying on the ice and I had 5 1.5 white bass, I would weigh all 5 1.5 white bass. Not one.
So how many fish can a person weigh?
As many tickets as they buy.
1 per ticket.
As long as they're inside their legal limit.
Yeah.
Can we expect any other changes in the 2023 winter deal?
Better prizes. I mean, we met you down at ICAST. I mean, we got introduced to some good people, and I think the prize list is going to change significantly with some, new brand names that'll be coming to the prize list. We talked Yeti. We were working with Fish USA, so thank you. Okuma. Working with Okuma, and some other companies, so we'll stay tuned.
So, yeah, again, the cool thing about this is you literally could catch a barely legal walleye, which is 14 under your deal,
right?
And you could win a $300-$400 Yeti cooler or a prize pack. I don't know, a lot of your prize packs. You said wasn't it like try to keep it at least $350 or something?
Yeah, around that area. Yep. For sure, nothing less than 150 on the prize. So,
$10,000 cash times 5 spots and truck,
boat,
UTVs, ATVs, golf carts,
ice augers, everything.
Ice hubs.
It's like a sportsman's flea market.
Yep.
Our storage kind of looks like a sportsman's warehouse before the event.
Yeah, I mean that's I'm always, as a business guy, always fascinated by stuff like that. I'm around the fishing. I'm more about like, oh my god, where do you put all this stuff? Because like that stuff adds up, man.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of volume when the ice hubs show up and things like that. Its warehouse is full.
So give us some info so the people that want to come do this. When is the event? Give us the lowdown. So if somebody is listening to this, say, hey, I want to participate. Give me the deal.
February 16th is our kickoff event. It's somewhat of a private party, but the fishing tournament itself is February 17th and 18th. A lot of people come in on Tuesday, start talking to local bait shops and anglers, and head to the bar maybe and talk to other fishermen that'll, tell you where to go, and they kind of scout out their area for the next few days, and then the serious fishermen do. Other people just go out there and party. So. But we have a 70-degree tent. It's super warm, obviously. Good food, good music. I bet you we sell $100,000 of co-branded merchandise in a day and a half at the tent. So good stuff. So
crazy. I think next time I'm going to have your uncle on.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
We'll liven it next time.
See, I mean, not that you guys aren't amazing, but I mean, a guy that like they think is dead in a body bag, like that's stuff that kind of trips my trigger. And he's a fisherman and he's cooking people breakfast. I mean,
He get you going.
Yeah.
I
He's
have a feeling that this is the tip of the iceberg.
tip of the iceberg. Yeah, you can rent that guy out for a week.
Yeah.
Probably make more.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. So what's your website? Is it Battle on Bago?
Battleonbago.com. Yep.
Battleonbago.com. Well, thank you so much for your time. And we'll put all the links and all that stuff up there. But battleonbago.com coming before you know it. It's hot as heck right now, but we're shooting this. But before you know it, this thing's going to be dipping down. We got fall creeping on us. And
we'll send a bunch of guys out to Lake Erie to catch walleyes from Wisconsin.
Please don't.
Maybe I'll come out and visit you.
Please don't.
We can bring you up here and show you catch 14 walleyes.
We could do a FaceTime or something every now and then, but you're good right where you're at there in that garage or whatever you're doing. That's good for me.
I can't wait.
In all seriousness, thanks guys for what you're doing and for giving us your time. And make sure you guys go check out battleonbago.com for all the specifics. And thanks again for everybody for tuning in. Battle on Bago, boys. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ross.